Hello, hello. Welcome to Monday Night Live. It's 27th of June tonight, and you may be wondering why I am sitting here looking like this in a polar fleece Women's Fitness Adventures buff and also a beanie but a t-shirt that says Eat, Sleep, Travel. It's a very exciting day today, or a very exciting time right now. So welcome and thanks for being here. So if you're watching, please let me know where you're watching from, whether you're a member, whether this is your first time or I don't know, we've been doing this for about 6 or 7 years now. So whether it's your 6th or 7th year joining me here on Saturday, now Sunday, or then Sunday, then Monday Night Live. So thank you so much for listening in and tuning in. So Monday Night Live tonight, I'm going to talk about the art of comparison and why it is so destructive. And I was reminded of that a couple of times this week in different ways, and also some examples that I can share from around the globe. Also talk about some skills and some exciting things that we've got coming up, and also some very exciting things that are happening in the next week or so inside Women's Fitness Adventures that have been a long, long time coming. And that's where patience has been a virtue. And yeah, just how consistency over time equals results. So stick with it. If you have any questions or comments, please pop them in the chat there. And nothing is off limits. So if you want to ask me questions that I'm not even talking about that relate to generally hiking, women's fitness adventures, things like that, then please pop them in the chat as well. Let me see. Hi, Suze from Hoppers Crossing. Lovely to have you here. Hello, Annie from Noosa. So a lovely picture that one of our other members from Noosa put up there today in the member challenge, which was great. Sandra from Sydney. Hi, Laurie from Stanthorpe. Gillian from Sunbury. We're from all over the country at the moment. Vanessa from Karoi. I've done it again. Let me get my mouse. Hang on. And Kim from Redland Bay as well. So thank you everyone for posting in, and I would love to hear any comments that you've got to share tonight. Yes, I do look like I'm dressed for the snow, and that is because I am going to, well, not quite the snow. I don't think it will be snowing, but I will share more about that at the end of the session. This is a polar fleece buff, and like my t-shirt says, eat, sleep, and travel. So that's very exciting. Hi, Cherie from Ningi, and hi, Michelle from Narangba. Lovely to have all of you here. So the topic tonight is the art of comparison and why it's so destructive. And I've spoken about this in the past, how we should swim in our own lane and not compare our you're at the free camp south of St. Lawrence. I love St. Lawrence and that area. It's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Patricia. How when we compare ourselves to others, we actually can talk ourselves out of stuff that we know is quite good for us, because we may be talking ourselves out of it because we're scared or we're uncertain or we're fear of failure or not fear of not being good enough or just not at the standards that we set ourselves, when in effect we're so much more than that. So when we compare ourselves to others, we don't really know what else is going on in that other person's life that we're comparing it to. And we may only be seeing the good stuff that we're comparing to, not all the other stuff that goes along behind it. So I think it's really important that we somehow, whether it's wisdom, I don't think it's an age thing, I think it's a wisdom thing, because we can still compare ourselves the older we get to others who, might have better fitness, better social standing, better finances. That's a topic at the moment, all sorts of things, but we actually don't know what goes on in anybody else's life. We only see the tiny little snippet of life that we want other people to see. And so you can say you're comparing yourself to my fitness, but you have no idea what goes on in my fitness life, and I have no idea what goes on in yours. So instead of comparison, we need to look at where we've come from, where we started, and how much we have actually achieved. So let me check in who's here. Wendy from Northeast Victoria, loving your pictures, Wendy. Leanne from Adelaide. Hello, Leanne. Pauline from Adelaide as well, and Kerry from Northeast Victoria. Thank you, ladies, for chiming in. So, yeah, one of the things to talk about is just how far we've come. And when we're a baby, when we're born, and, the human body is an amazing thing, we learn to walk. And I don't know if you've seen any kids, little babies, toddlers lately that have just learned to walk, and they get up and they move and they are so pleased with themselves. And it's like this grin, and the parents have a grin, and everybody has a huge grin. And it's because they have come from literally, this big to being this walking, talking human. But when they start to walk, they don't actually think of themselves as a potential Olympic athlete that can run, 100 meters in 10 minutes, because that is just something too much of an ideal, too much of a comparison. But they actually look back and think, I've actually learned to walk. And then they learned to crawl, and then they learned to walk, and then they learned to run. And this progress and if we all look back on our own lives, just how far we've come since we were born, that all of these skills and everything that we've developed. Yet instead, it's a bit like the to-do list. We look at the list and measure just how much. I'm still guilty of the to-do list. Well, I don't have the list. It's too bad, too much. Just how much we still have to do. No matter if there's 30 things on my list and I achieve 20, if I look at that gap of the 10 things that I need to do, that's where I'm measuring myself. What I didn't get done versus all of those things that I've achieved. So I say, and if you agree with me or not, please let me know. I say let's ditch the comparison, because me comparing myself to you or you comparing yourself to someone else isn't really apples with apples. We all come from there is no one like us. There is no one as unique as we are, with the same set of, genetic makeup, life circumstance, skills and experience that we all bring to making ourselves ourselves. So how can we compare each other? So we need to look inside ourselves and look back at where we've come from. And this was quite noticeable over the course of the week, where in different conversations and in different groups and different books and stuff that I've been reading, is that I think it's a human trait to compare. And when we're constantly comparing, and this is the book I've been reading and I've mentioned it to some of you, called The Gap and the Gain. When we're constantly comparing, we're in this gap. And when we're in the gap, we're never in the happy place that we need to be. I guess you could call it gratefulness as well, is that when we are looking at where we've come from and appreciating all that we've achieved, all that we've done, all that the sum of who we are, then we're actually grateful for the life circumstance that got us to here. So I say let's start a movement of ditching the comparison. Let's step into our own selves. Let's step into our own voice as well. And sometimes when we compare to each other, and I'm now going to talk from a hiking perspective, that, oh no, I won't go on that hike, or I won't enroll in that program, whatever that program is, because I'll be last, because I won't be able to keep up, because I might not make it, because you have to be sensible about this from a safety perspective. But if we're listening simply to the voices in our head, and when I say from a safety perspective, we'll have asked all those questions. Is it for me? Is it the fitness level that I need it to be? What's the safety thing? What happens if I can't make it? All of those things. But if we're just talking ourselves out of it because maybe we're comparing ourselves to somebody else in the group, or how fast that group might go, or the fact that we haven't done it before, sometimes we can miss out on all the really good stuff, all the really rich gold that's there waiting for us, because we can say, no, I'll wait till next time. I'll wait till then. I'll wait till when. I'll wait till how. I'll wait till why. And I can say, in my experience of 16 years now in the women's health and fitness and wellness space, that if you delay it, you never do it. I mean, some things are beyond your control to delay. Then we have that separately. But if you go, nah, I'm going to be last. Nah, everyone's better than me. I'll do it next time. Next time will never come. I can absolutely guarantee you that. And it doesn't matter what support and what help and encouragement is offered. When you get that in your head and say no, it won't happen again. You'll move on, and that opportunity won't come by again. So I encourage you to let's not cut off our nose to spite our face and give up an opportunity to do something because we're comparing ourselves to someone else. Clearly do the homework, do the research, do all that you need to know about it, but don't miss an opportunity because the voices in our head are telling us that we're not as good as somebody else. Thank you, Patricia. Don't delay. You totally agree. Absolutely. And the journey starts with ourselves, and that, the old philosophers weren't wrong when they said the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. They weren't. How do you eat an elephant? I don't think you eat an elephant, but how do you do it? You begin with the first bite. And comparison is so destructive. You know, I spoke of the Olympic swimmers, or all the Olympic athletes during COVID when they went to Tokyo, and how they weren't able to compete on the world stage with anyone. And so they were swimming in their own lane. They were focused on their own results. And how when they got over there, they were actually, champions in their own right, because they had swum their own race. They'd done their own training. Sure, they'd seen some of the results, but they weren't able to compete against anyone else. And they got there and they gave it their best shot and rocked it up there with the best in the world, but they weren't comparing. And I think that's a really good lesson for all of us. Sue says, I'm okay with being last. Put this up. I'm just glad I'm there with someone. Someone has to bring up the rear. Absolutely. And, especially on a hiking trail, you can't walk more than one or two abreast anyway. So, someone has to be in the beginning and someone has to be at the back. And the back isn't last. The back's just a choice. But the other thing I encourage you to do, if you're regularly at the back, is to not assume that you always should be at the back. Don't just wait to fall into that line. Just fall into line and it'll shuffle out as it needs to. And Suzanne from Cooper Pedy, wow, everyone's on the move at the moment. That's a great thing. When we speak, as I said, we speak about ducks lining up, and we've had this this discussion before and in the newsletter before about ducks lining up. They never do. It is how often, hands up, anyone who's had all their ducks line up in a row, every single duck that they wanted to, every single scenario that we've run through in our head has lined up to be absolutely perfect. It hasn't. It hasn't ever. So we just need one duck. And I know many of you have embraced the one duck, or no ducks. You're just hoping that something's paddling out there just to move on. Life is so short. And I get reminded of that every day as well. Life is so short and we can't take anything for granted. Now, Broad's away as well on Flinders Island. Wow, enjoying farm life. Lovely. And the Wombat Hospital that's there as well. I hope so. I was chatting away. And you spent time at the front yesterday, Sue, and do at times. Yeah, absolutely, Suze. I think it's really important that when we, whatever line we're in the hiking line, is to just step into a different location and see it from a different perspective. And it makes such a difference. I have realised also this past week that in chatting with and getting lots of questions is for our members just how much you guys have inside our membership. And it's quite amazing. Our leaders, Jane, Tricia and I, have spent many, many decades combined hiking the trails of the world, scouring for all the gear, researching, discussing with suppliers, all the gear, all the fitness, upskilling all the time. And inside the membership for all of you guys is a real treat. And I was chatting with, I'm going to put the link up if anyone's not a member. I was chatting with a couple of ladies this morning who are not members yet and were asking a whole lot of questions. And, my standard response was, oh, there's a masterclass for that inside the membership, all about boots. There's a masterclass about layering. There's fitness inside the membership. There's all sorts of things there. And I think that many of you who are now able to successfully navigate trails on your own in locations all around the world have successfully embraced what you have on offer inside the membership to make you fitter and stronger and safer for the trails. And it's through your participation that we get to see amazing things happening in terms of friendship and encouragement and support. So if you're not a member, you might be seeing some of these comments down the side from our members who are, getting together all over the world in instances and traveling together. And Vanessa shares here, which is such a great concept. When we hike, with a group, we play leapfrog. So everyone gets a go at the front, middle and rear, which is absolutely fantastic. And we did that when we went to Kokoda many years ago in New Guinea and really took turns because some of it was steep and challenging. And obviously there's different levels within the group, but it made sure that everyone had a successful and wonderful adventure. Lorelei says, my baby granddaughter reminds me every week about the beauty in movement, growth and progress. She can do something this week that she couldn't do last week just because she kept at it. Yeah, that is so amazing. And, you look at how far she has come in such a short space of time, that's applicable to all of us, no matter what skill we do. But we tend to give up, I think, as women early that, we're not good at it. So we either don't try or we can't crack it first go. So we just go, I'm not doing that anymore. That's too hard. I'm not going to put in the effort. And we do miss out. Some of the, as we say with growth, it's challenging at first, messy in the middle, and glorious at the end. So I would encourage you, anyone listening, to take note of that, being reminded of grandchildren, playing leapfrog, like Vanessa said as well. For our members, there is the member challenge this week, starting today. So our 2 kilometres a day for 21 days, which in the end means you'll have actually completed a marathon, which is great because the Gold Coast Marathon Festival is back on for the first time next week, first time in 2 years. But really, the challenge has come about from listening to what's been going on inside the group and outside in the general community, and how everybody has so much on, pulled in 50 million directions, and focus is hard to find. And when we can't find our focus, we tend to lose the focus on ourselves as well. So a little 2 kilometre a day challenge, you can make it more, but 2 kilometres a day is achievable. You can break it up in the day. And, building that over 21 days forms a great habit. It will see us through some of the darkest days of winter in terms of cold and actual dark. And just form some really good habits of that movement in the body, that feeling that exercise can bring. And there's the bingo card in there as well. So we encourage you inside the member group to, put the hashtag member challenge or 21-day movement, whatever that hashtag is, and make the comments, because you know that you're all inspiring somebody else inside the group as well. So some other great things that are coming up this week, the Victorian Workshop. So if you received the newsletter just about 20 minutes ago, we have our first ever workshop, and we're doing that in Victoria in October. So it will be a series of 3 different workshops over 3 different days. So it's not a sleepover. It's not a multi-day. You can come to 1, 2, or 3, or all of them. So you can pick and choose. So we're just waiting for our permits for national parks to be confirmed in Victoria, and then we will have more details. But set that date aside right now. So it's for members and non-members, and we'll have some more details pretty soon. We also have our Port Douglas walk and talk. So if anyone is up in the Cairns or far north Queensland region on Saturday, the 23rd of July, we've got a social walk happening from Port Douglas. I know there's a couple of beautiful bakeries up there, so we might just make our way to the bakery as well for a great walk and great conversation. And then also we have our South Australia events happening, one each month. We're just waiting on some details on the next one as to where that will be, so we'll have that available soon. Now, some of you may be wondering why I'm wearing a beanie, and this buff around my neck is different to our other buffs. It's actually a thermal buff. And the reason I'm wearing this is because I'm off on an adventure on Saturday night. So I am off to, drum roll please, I'm off to Iceland, and I'm very excited. So this adventure has been a long time coming. And there's also another adventure happening next Monday, which is our Murray River Fitness Adventure. So 2 adventures happening, and both of these adventures are pretty amazing because we have been waiting. These were booked and all set to go and paid for before the pandemic. And so, we have been waiting 2.5 years for these adventures to happen, and they're finally here. And we're super excited. We've managed to get all the gang together, almost the gang together. But I say, you may sit there and say, oh, you lucky thing, that's fantastic. And it is fantastic. But behind getting to both of these adventures is some very big mountains and very big lessons and learnings, and at times uncomfortable and dark days where, through COVID, we navigated with our partners and through the strong relationships that we have with our adventure partners to maintain that these adventures would still be here. That, you hear a lot of stories in the travel industry that didn't go well. And the great thing about these ones is that they have gone well. So for every woman, and Michelle's off on the Murray on Monday, and I'd be very excited too. for every one of our crew members who is attending the adventure in Iceland or the adventure on the Murray River, I commend you for your patience and your wonderful, wonderful attitude and your commitment to yourself and your commitment to Women's Fitness Adventures. There were a few who didn't make it, who some even, I guess people show their true colours during times of stress, and there were some dark days during the last 2 years, but I really do appreciate that every member who is going on these adventures, held on to their focus, held on to the fact of fitness, the fact of adventure with like-minded women, the fact of achieving something that few people will get to do, and could be patient and could be understanding and could be accepting that there are a lot of things beyond our control. And that to me is a lot about, says so much about an individual when it comes to integrity, when it comes to trust, when it comes to values. And they're the type of women that we have on all of our adventures, and they're the type of women that we have inside Women's Fitness Adventures community. Strong, capable, patient, kind, caring, and I said it earlier on, wise. And so, that's why these adventures are going to be special, not just because or only because of the locations, but because of the members who are on it and how they will all support each other and operate as a team, because it is a team. And we know that sometimes things don't always go to plan, even when we're on adventure, but it's the way the team focuses and the way the team operates that I think makes a difference for us as Women's Fitness Adventures, and our values that set us apart from others. So next Saturday, or this Saturday night, I won't have my beanie on the plane, but it's packed just in case my luggage gets lost. I am heading off to Iceland, a long way there, 35 hours. So Monday Night Live next Monday may not be, it probably won't be on Monday Night Live. So for the next couple of weeks, I'll be popping up randomly in your feed. So don't get worried if I'm not there on a Monday night. So it's when it's 7 o'clock here, it's 9 a.m. in Reykjavik in Iceland, and then we're heading off on our hike for 7 days. So we literally do not have any reception when we're out there. So we'll be posting what photos we can when we get there, and then a whole ton will just dump into the Facebook feed. But the girls on the Murray River have Wi-Fi and have access for a fair bit of the time, so they will be posting their pictures. So please cheer them on. We love it when we can all share the experience, whether we're on it or whether we're sharing it virtually as well. So it will be our first time for some to have traveled, whether that's domestically or internationally, and that in itself brings many challenges as well. But together we will support each other and really make these adventures ones to remember. So the training for all of the women on all of the adventures has always been there, and the support has always been there, and the women, as I said, never lost sight of the prize, never lost sight that one day adventuring would be able to return, and that they needed to be ready when it was time to return. And that is consistency over time equals results. And we can say, and I mentioned it last week, and that's the topic of our masterclass coming up, is in August, is the the common hiking injuries and how to avoid them, is that we need to practice our art of building strength every single day. We can sit there and go, I'll skip today, and skipping today is okay. But if we skip tomorrow and we skip the day after, and we don't have to do things for long, we don't have to do things hard. We just need to do things that build strength of our mind, strength of our body, strength of our character. So I think that, keeping our eye on the prize, however far away that prize might be, it comes, but it's not about comparing ourselves to somebody else. And let me share this. Thank you, Cherie. Cherie says, and Cherie joined us last year during the pandemic. I was frightened of not keeping up with the group when we went to the Royal National Park, but I found some of the time I was up the front. Yeah, and as you would know, and anyone that adventures with us, we're not about a race. I am not a competitive person, when it comes to myself, I am, but that I'm not competitive, meaning I have to beat you, you have to beat me, we have to get there first, we have to get up to the the top of the mountain in 4 hours, or we turn into pumpkins. We're not about that, and I think that Cherie, you probably found that when you went with the group, that the supportive nature, and even Vanessa with your Sunshine Coast Trekkers, it is not about it is all about the team, and all about the team achieving together. And I think that's just an amazing thing. And when women do things together, they can get pretty powerful results. Sounds like amazing trips, says Kerry. Enjoy, everyone. Yeah, we will enjoy it. I think savor it even more sweetly. I think there'll be tears on both of those locations from the ladies who were booked in back in 2019 to go in 2020. It will be such a wonderful thing for all of us that are members of Women's Fitness Adventures, whether you're going on them or not. So as I said, that's so next week I will just beam in with my other adventurers from wherever I can be. I do have a big layover in Manchester, England, in the airport, so I may pop in from there. But where I can, I'll do some lives. I'll make lots of videos. I'll share. We'll all try and pronounce some of these Icelandic words like landmanagmalaga, something like that. I can't even look at you when I do that. So I'll try, and I'll get some practice, and I'm sure we'll get some bloopers as well. And we'll try all the food, and we'll capture all the moments so that you can be there with us. So whether you're coming or not, though, everyone's support makes such a difference to an adventure. So that's it from me tonight. I encourage you for members to really embrace the challenge this month, especially if you're feeling a little bit blah and needing that motivation and needing that accountability. That the member challenge will get you there. And also, if you read the newsletter, there's a new functional fitness video, Vanessa. There's number 34 in there right now. And I've got a few up my sleeve for you for when I'm away. And the replay of the Bottoms Up Masterclass is also there in the resources as well. So if you want to jump in and have a look at that. Where are we? The July Masterclass date was in the newsletter as well. So a whole lot of good stuff in tonight's newsletter. And if you're not a member, then you can look at the newsletter and jump in, or click on the link below and join membership, and you can join right now. But it's quite hot here in Brisbane, me sitting here in a beanie. Let me take that off. And sitting here, I won't take this off yet, with my thermal buff that are both going to Iceland. So I'm going to go back and pack them now. I'm just going to share safe travels, everyone going on the latest adventures. Looking forward to the pics and stories. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, number 34 is there. And Cherie said all the others were encouraging, very encouraging, as I was a lot older than them. And I think you'll also find that age is not really, we can be old and not wise, and we can be wise and not old. Age is not really an issue when it comes to Women's Fitness Adventures. It's all about participation and those values of integrity and trust and looking out for each other as a team. So that's it from me. Any questions that you have or any comments, please just drop in below. Safe travels to everyone who's on the road. Lots of people moving around a bit at the moment. Any questions, please ask. Any suggestions for masterclasses or anything like that, pop them in the member Facebook group. Lots going on there. I really encourage you to chat along and get involved. Take care till I see you next, wherever that might be from. And stay well, stay safe. Talk to you then. Bye.